Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a pretty good rack. There could be a 7-letter bingo here, and there are likely to be a number of 8s through the right floaters. But first things first, is there a 7? This does look promising. It's slightly vowel heavy, so there may not be one here. Okay, not too many floaters to consider, and the F doesn't go well with the C. So I can't see anything through the F, or the O, or the X. Well, how disappointing. This looked of an extremely promising opening rack. There could be a 7-letter bingo here that I've overlooked. But I'm not seeing it. Now, how about sorting the rack out? I've got an A or an E for going above the X. My E can go above the F, but the problem is I've got nothing to go on top of the O. But, and I haven't seen anything yet, my R can go underneath. My I can go underneath here. So I could play Erica, which sort of wrecks the rack, which is a shame. But the score's quite good. And probably better is Syria. A lot better, in fact. I don't think it takes an S. So my opponent's scoring options are limited, unless he's got an H for going underneath the C. Or he's got a high scoring tile for going underneath the A, but then that's going to open up floaters in columns 12 or 13. Yeah. Now, I have wrecked my rack, which is a shame. Far too vowel heavy now, no scoring tiles. Well, I was thinking about playing ELO Gs, but that burns the S far too cheaply. So, what to do here? My O can go underneath AB, but I don't have anything for going underneath the I apart from the S. So, what about playing through the G? I've got Eloge, but that stops one square too short. Well, what about maximising my rack leave and just playing OG for 10? I have Nielos and Lionels, and those both play in columns 13 and in row M, so I should be bingoing with this rack. OG takes a D as well as an S. Column 13 is my preference because that will get doubled. OG does take a Y in front, so row H is quite hot on the right-hand side. Just the two 7-letter bingos here. Okay. Nice bingo by my opponent, and there goes the first blank. Nothing great provided, so I think I will play Nielos over here. I was thinking about playing one square below to make bigs and Oz. But that won't then get doubled. So that's 71. Let me just see what this scores. 69. Yeah, I think I will play in this spot. And that's quite a nice rack. I've got the J, which is a good scoring tile. I've got a couple of vowels. So I could play jibe in column 12 to the left of Nielos. I could play Jedi and OG'd. No bingos with this rack, I don't think. I could play Jibed at L1 across for a big score. It would be nice to split up the D and the G. Jibed also plays in row F, and that retains the E, which is quite nice. That would keep ERG, quite a good rack leave. 35 points, and it's taking out a fairly dangerous... Well, I was going to say X spot, but the X has gone, so that's not as dangerous as I thought it was. But Jibed at L1, 53 points, definitely worth doing, I think. Even if it's sticking the J out for a play in column 1. I'm trailing by 12 with my opponent on turn, so I'd like to keep the board open. Wow, another bingo and another blank. Okay, well, I'm a long way behind now. My Jibed spot remains available. If I played it at N2, I wouldn't score as much, so I think it does need to be played here. The board is quite tight. If my opponent plays down from the J, then really I'm only looking at the floaters in yellows, N, I and E, and anything which he provides at O1. The F and the C of Fox and Seria are really closing down the top left of the board. Anyway, Jibe for 53 is quite a nice score. Great. That is a really nice rack. I have Reposing in row D. I have Pyrogues ending IES in column 2 through the I, so I am bingoing here. Spongia, an anagram of Reposing. And possibly there's something else. If I do play Reposing, it takes a P in front. Now, I have Serpigo. OWS not good, how annoying. I think Serpigo's got anagrams. I note for a start that I do have Reposing, so I don't need to spend too long in row O, but if I've got a row O play, it's going to score more. Ah, NYS is good. Ah, so I do have Serpigo across here for a big score, and it's keeping the board open. 95, fantastic. Now, I would probably score more if I overlapped more. So, does Serpigo have any anagrams? Well, Porgies sounds reasonable. Well, that doesn't play. Porgies, Serpigo, possibly Perogis. Well, that doesn't play anywhere, so I'm going with this. Not great. I do have Q and U, which is good, but I don't have vowels to go with it. However, there is this I. So, Quirt. I have Quirt. Fantastic. That may well be taken out if my opponent plays down from the J. But if it isn't... Ah, and it is. Most annoying. However, I've also got Quirt in row E through this I. And I've got Quim in the same spot. 2 S's to come. Have I overlooked anything? I note my opponent only got 14 points for Hadji, so he's actually behind at this point. I'm just wondering if there are any front or back extensions to Hadji to reach the triple. None is coming to mind. So Quim or Quirt? Quirt keeps FMV, which is a horror show. So Quirt keeps F and V, not good. But Quim also keeps F and V lacks synergy. So let me just consider the board to see if there's an alternative spot. I think given that I can get 30 for the Q, any better play is likely to involve playing the Q. I can't get the Q on this triple letter square. Or this one. Now, if I played Quirt, I'd be giving easy access to column 15. Yeah, and burning 2 bingo-y tiles. So although ordinarily I would prefer to keep 3 constants rather than 4, I think Quim has merits in this instance. 1 vowel, okay, better than none. Too many high-scoring tiles. I am 60 points ahead, which is good. The Yogi spot is sort of available for a something YL word or a Yulem. 1 Y still to come. 58 points for my opponent. Well, that was the worst possible outcome for me. He's now got a 3-point lead. So, look at the vowels. Not many to come. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14 out of 31. I didn't feel I was being swamped with vowels earlier, but somehow they have gone. Still 1 M to come for hooking, or for going next to the H. Where are all the vowels? There's certainly not many available in open space. My opponent didn't play many with praise. Well, what about playing through this I? Can I play off something through here? Well, I can play Rift, which takes an E, slightly dangerous. Can't put my F or V, so H is my only scoring tile here. I could play Gift for slightly more, and that's retaining the E, which is important. 24 points is okay, although not great. Gosh, this is a really surprising board. It looks tight, and it just doesn't feel like a ton of vowels have been played. Just wondering if there's any 3-letter extensions to praise. Can't think of any. No vowels for me. But I retained the E from last time, which is good. Still no Y. Gift only takes an S. Now this E is available for a play in row L, but it's not going to score very much. But that may not matter. My priority is being able to play. Wine takes a D and a T in front. My opponent's provided nothing in open, no vowels in open play. My N can go after QI. I could play Lev, but that's keeping 5 consonants. I'd rather not. I'm 7 points behind. Now if I play Helve across here, I'm providing an easy opportunity for my opponent to score. 18 tiles left. So is there something better than Helve? There's no R's left, but I'd rather not keep 2 of them on my rack if I can avoid it. So I could play Lever. For only 11 points, is that really the best I can do? And I'm burning my E with only 2 to come. What am I missing? Nine minutes on my clock. Gosh, if I had 1 more vowel, I might be able to play something nice with my H or V on this triple letter square. Still 1 V to come, so I think I would like to play off the V. Just wondering if I've got something down onto the G. Can't see anything. What about a play through OR? OR something E. Can't see anything. Rack leaves quite good here, and this isn't as dangerous as it looks because I'm covering the double letter square. The real problem with this move is its miserly score. Just wondering if I have anything to go after AD for a play in row O. Can't see anything. The hotspot for the H has been, under the C, has been taken out by the R. FE takes nothing in front. 8 minutes left. This doesn't feel great, but I am going to go with it. Great. I draw 3 vowels. Now I have Menorah on my rack, and there's nowhere for it, not surprising. And only 17 for my opponent, that's good. Does Menorah have an anagram? Don't think so. Now there's the floating R. Can't see anything there. So I'm not going to bingo with this rack, but it looks pretty nice. What about a play onto the R? So I've got Homer, 12 tiles left. For 30 points, that's quite nice. Can I do better than that? Gift takes nothing after it. Now, what about the TE? Do I have a play through TE? So something like Hormenate. Can't see anything. Always a shame to not bingo when you've got a bingo on your rack. Now, it would be nice to play the A rather than the E. And it would be nice to play off, or just to maximise my score. I am 13 behind, so it would be easy to be slack here, stick Homer down and have a slightly better, more winning play that's overlooked. Well, if there is a better play, I've missed it. Rack leaves reasonable. I am retaining a vowel. So Homer for 30, and I'm giving nothing away. Pretty horrendous. Maybe I miscounted the vowels earlier because I've got a lot on my rack and there's quite a few left. 6 left out of 15. But this is awful. I've got no scoring tiles, and my lead of 17 points is pretty precarious. My opponent could easily have a play in row B with the Z here for a big score. And if he... Okay, he hasn't played there. I was going to say if he did play there, then he'd be opening up bingo lanes, but I'm not in a position to bingo. 6 tiles left. I've got auto as a prefix. Just considering possible unlikely bingos, and I've got out as a prefix. Okay, so what to do? I certainly need to play off a U, or at least one U. My T can go in front of wine. My U or O can go underneath the C. So what about a play across here? So I've got auto across here, which is quite nice. 5 minutes on my clock. I'm playing off a lot of vowels, so what about just playing Utu in that spot? And this it scores less, but it covers me for the possibility of not drawing vowels. And certainly if I draw the Z, having the A and the O will give me extra flexibility. 19 points. Utu does take a T in front, so I am opening a bingo lane in column 3, but I think I'll just have to suck that up. I do draw the Z, which is great. It means my opponent doesn't have it. And this is quite balanced. So what do I have? I have zoo and a do. Do I have something beginning on this triple, ending on the R? Don't think so. The bag's empty. I can see what my opponent's got. I don't think he's got a bingo, and in particular I don't think he's got a bingo ending in T or P and R. So let me forget about his rack. I've got 4 minutes left. I am 4 points behind, so I think if I can just go out in 2, that could be enough. But is that easier said than done? If I played zoo, I would keep Khan or Nark. Nark and Kutu. Let me just see what Nark looks like. And there's a reason for playing this first. If I play Nark and Kutu for 18 points, then I've got zoo at the bottom, and I've also got zoo beside Nark for not very much, but it is a second out. Am I providing something massive for my opponent? Well, my opponent can play stave, but does that matter if I can then guarantee an out? So I am 3 minutes on my clock. I'm 4 points behind. If I play Nark, I'm 4 points ahead. My opponent plays stave for 36. I'm 32 behind. And I get 26. Actually, that may not be enough. So that's a shame. Only 3 minutes left on my clock. I don't have anything to go in front of wine. Kate takes an R. Now, what about playing Zonk here? Then my opponent plays stove. But I'm getting a bigger score for this. So Zonk 36, I'm 32. This will put me 32 ahead. My opponent plays stove. For 36, I'm 4. So I just need to go out, and I can go out with raw. I think this works. Okay, I think I'm going to go with this. So my opponent can't score any more than stove. One and a half minutes on my clock. Now maybe there is a better play for my opponent, but if he doesn't play then I've got or, Tsar and or. I've got raw for 8. Is there a higher scoring spot? Aura is good. It's 13 minutes on my opponent's clock, so he has got absolutely masses of time. I hope my maths was correct. So 28, I am 32 points ahead. I will be 4 behind, but then I'll get 8 for raw, so I'll win. I think this works. There may well have been a better out in 2, which didn't give such a juicy spot for my opponent, but I'm short on time, so the important thing is to guarantee the win. I'm still looking around for alternative spots for aura or and not seeing anything. ADA, not good. Yeah. So I am now 4 points behind. Let me just put this down so I'm ready to play it. I'll just see if my opponent's provided anything for me. I don't think he has, so raw for 8. Just wait for my opponent to formally end the game. Which he does. And the final score, 408 to my opponent, 418 to me. A winning margin of 10 points, so a really close game. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. A nice opening rack for him. He plays Fox. Great, I didn't miss a bingo, and Syria does look fine despite its wreckingness. However, look at Ace. G9, Ace and Axe. A possible alternative play. It drops 11 points, but Rise is a really good 4-letter set. Now my opponent plays big. And I struggled here, and I played OG in the end, and I still like that. Great rack for my opponent. He's got a number of options, one of which is Tercels. Fortunately, I'm able to come straight back with Nielos. Great pickup for my opponent. He's got a ton of options, including Atonias. But I'm able to come back with a decent score for a non-bingo. Jibed. Now my opponent's rack has deteriorated. He's got a 20-odd point lead. But he got 34 for Dewey, which was nice. And now I have a fabulous pickup and have Serpigo for 95. And, well, some of those other options were mentioned. My opponent plays Hadji, which is annoying because it took out my Quirt spot. And I was then struggling between Quim and Quirt, and I think Quim is slightly better. But that was great for my opponent because he got 58 for praise, and now I'm stuck with a horrible rack. However, I'm only 3 points behind. Re-gift for 39. Oh wow, that would certainly have been a better play than gift, despite burning the E, an extra 15 points. It would, however, have opened up a bingo lane, but that probably would have been good for me because we're fairly level at this point. My opponent's rack, he plays Wine, and now my rack is awful. I really struggled with this. Yeah, L11, these are where many of the moves are focused, including my play of Lever for 11. Possibly Hurl better, keeping the V. I don't know. My opponent's got Andante, nowhere to play it. Plays Anne, quite nice. Slot in for 17. And now I have Menorah and nowhere to play it. There was a better play. Ah, well, no, they're not in column 15. Harmer is running across in row B, which is not good because it opens up row A, so Homer looks fine. Yeah, I think my opponent probably would have had a play if I'd played Harmer. He plays nil. Now, I'm not in great shape. I'm only a point behind, but this is an awful rack. However, you two scored well and sorted the rack out. My opponent plays dud. And now we're into the end game. The bag is empty. I can see what my opponent's got. I played Zonk. Wow, 36 points. Yep, that was a lot. Options included Kronor, B10. And Kronor looks pretty nice. It's keeping Tsar. Okay, so it's possible that there weren't two spots for Tsar, in which case Kronor wouldn't be better than Zonk. Now, B10. My opponent could have played... Well, 34 for Vasta is the same as 36 for Stove, so no big deal there. And finally, Raw for 8 was... was the best. So pretty interesting game, very tight, and I think the outcome really depended on the final pickups that we both had from the bag, but fortunately I was able to find an out in two which secured me the win. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time.